that relationship was broken, I cautioned certain people. Me catch them, so me kaya. Says I dey amuye. No more politics, Emma football because MPP or power and Tino. More years of FIFA, FIFA and cash. Presidents always appointed the FA chairman, so there was a good nexus between government and football. And Kruma, Ohinija, Ntina, Oneno work together. So during the PNDC, NDC time, E.T. Mensah would nominate 2 people. No, they are back. Football Congress. It worked. Clubs, no, the vice chairman, Beba. We had then a 5-member management board of the FA, which was a good arrangement. Somehow, MPP ba power and Kwana say NDC phobia said then been my question say MPNima government no say nominate. Meanwhile, first we nominated President Kufuor nominated Ben Kofi. Ben Kofi no a bit elderly. I think he's passed on.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, Ben Kofi. And after that, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. It was during Nyaho's time there were some issues, and Nyaho resigned, and then President I think sent him out as an ambassador. I was of the view, say, let's go ahead and appoint another, because that was what was pertaining. FIFA had no issues with that. FIFA only comes in when there's confusion. So, but we are a sovereign country. I think we should go back to that relationship.
Let's not go back to
we should go back to that.
Appointing FA chairman.
Not they always bring 2 nominees, football people, because
we choose one.
And it was working, it was smooth. When it got to the NDC time, there was a lot of tension because they wanted somebody who they wanted to be comfortable, and I think that what they reserved that right. Almost football, my views on it. I've said it to many people personally and talked to them, and I remember in 2006 telling certain NDC seniors at Chua and I think Ernest Thompson, Michelle Stadium, Ofansa funeral, I said. I'm catching them say, Mamma fat politics, MFRA football. In now walk otoko. We saw has, Yenshana ball in Kuyi. The president has to have an eye in football because football is so critical for Ghana. Obviously, there be a Congress. As if football is an island. It's not an island. So I'm sure. What has happened? A few people took over football because the Congress has only 120 people, and you know what happens. I mean, to control 120 people is not. Especially at a time when money came into football. That was the first time we went to a World Cup, 26, 2010, 2014, and anything that goes to the World Cup gets at no less than $10 million. Never accounted to anybody. People became law unto themselves, and I kept advising. I even called Alaji Jawula, so friend Abusano. I've had to talk to Nana Brew Butler. I'm a friend Penifun said, look, let's sit down and get back to this arrangement that worked for Ghana. After all, President you appointed Chief Justice, or appointed Electoral Commissioner, or appointed Chief of Defense Staff, any IGP, you know. Bank of Ghana or appointed. Now, other football is this special? So, football is only Ghana Football Association. And so, who is in charge of Ghana? It's the president. So, at least every 4 years, he is accountable to the people. But to have a football that has become an island, FIFA, are they God? FIFA is under the rules of Switzerland, one small country that does not play much football anyway. In Sensema about FIFA, it was the prosecutor general in Zurich who ordered investigation into FIFA's and they are not a law unto themselves. I cannot understand why they want to behave as if they can enter into any country and do what they want. And I remember when we were in government, I was trying to prevail on our sports minister to you get all African ministers to stop FIFA. Where is CAF? Do you ever hear of CAF? Why should there be FIFA when there is no CAF? If we are Ghana, if there's anybody to interact with, it has to be CAF. Why do we go to FIFA? We just say, would they fan say CAF? FIFA bear some terrorist organization here, and look at what happened. The corruption that engulfed it. It was only exposed because the Americans and the Russians. The Americans lost the bid for the World Cup. And the English lost. They were so furious, and they started digging into it. And I'm sure some of these tapes that are coming, I saw Daily Telegraph,
Yeah.
it is something that the British did because they never were satisfied with the decision to hand over 2018 to Russia and 2022 to Qatar, because they knew something was going on in football. And a lot has happened. It's unfortunate that a player like Michel Platini had to fall. All these things happening. I think locally, let's get down to basics. Let the football people meet and understand that it is the government's money that we use to build stadia. It's the people's money that we use to support the national team. And then there will not be one tradition in office forever. So we should have the calendar such that the president comes in, he should be able to football for NDC for so me catch them say, hey, idea amoye 2006, so we will not be in power forever. That time we were in power. I didn't even think that we were going to lose that early, say 2008. Now I'm kind of say, you be a Dutch bino, I'm catching them. Oh, stadium. Na NDC aba, na mo pese mo so munipa ebe FA chairman. NDC ya na menim say 2009 ombeba eba ya fe na mo pe FA chairman e dia ekoye he ntokwa court to sem na BNI ko rab GFA offices. All these things will not happen if the president knows that he has somebody he can call at the head of the FA. And FA's football is critical to Ghana. Yentimi fe ni agro. Krofope. Ade a e lose match ni petimi ewu fa ho. It's not SFA no ye.
Welcome to you to this edition of Good Evening Ghana. It's always a pleasure, an amazing pleasure to bring the show to you tonight. As always, we have so much to share with you. We're going to start our show tonight looking at the big winners of the MPP Congress, and we're going to end that roll call with Bantama Asensu Boakye for a certain reason. And then we'll link into the Asensu Boakye story, because tonight we have occasion to discuss all of those matters about redevelopment and all that. Not to discuss it in detail, but just to make a point about it. And so that's our starting points tonight. We do have the latest on the SML contract, and it's not very palatable news, because sometimes you don't understand why there's so much dishonesty in the system. We'll get onto the touchscreen about the SML contract. The latest is that President Akufo-Addo is waiting for KPMG, Pidmawick, the accounting firm, to advise on the processes that the GRA undertook to obtain the SML contract. But tonight we are getting details about some people who are involved in the anti-SML arrangement. We're going to mention names and show you their photographs. That's coming up soon. And then we have the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I've heard him say today in the CDD conference, something like that. I heard him say that we shouldn't scrap the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and that there's advocacy towards that, something like that. We are not advocating towards the scrapping of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, no. We are advocating towards the uprooting of the attitude of Kisi Ajabe, not even he himself. His very horrendous attitude that he brings to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, his immaturity. Kisi Ajabe's immaturity is what we are complaining about. We are not complaining about the institution and the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. No, we are complaining about Kisi Ajabe's ineptitude and immaturity. That's what we are talking about. Debauchery. That's what we are complaining about. That's what we mean. And his penchant for cameras. We're going to deal with that today. So he should relax. We are not asking for the reconstruction or the deconstruction of the office, the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That's not our concern. That's a good office. It's anti-corruption. And we all like that corruption is eschewed from our society, isn't it? Yes, correct. But we are talking about a certain attitude of a particular special prosecutor. And we're going to exemplify that by telling you the narration, or by narrating to you what happened in the court case. What happened in the court case where he showed up in court to now create substance for the conduct that he has undertaken against Cecilia Dapa, the conduct that he has pursued against Cecilia Dapa. It was his day in court to now put substance to it. All the theatricals came to an end in the court when they said, okay, once you get into the courtroom and shut the door, theatricals are over. You leave that outside for we, the journalists. Now come into the courtroom and substantiate the things that you've been doing. And he completely disgraced himself. I'll be telling you about that also. And then we are hearing disturbing news from the sub-region here in ECOWAS about Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, all of them attempting to or evincing an interest to exit ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. And so that's a matter that concerns us. Alhassan Bello, your favorite presenter on international politics, will return for the first time in 2024 to the touchscreen tonight to tell us what it is. Okay, Kweku Apreko, our producer lawyer, is also preparing to explain to us what happened in the Adam Mahama verdict. It was very difficult, very painful, as you sort of recollected the kinds of gruesome pictures of the gruesome murder, the unwarranted murder of Major Mahama. That was shocking, wasn't it? And so when you saw the trial and you saw his mother speaking and you saw the image of his wife, it was very, very sad. Apreko will get to the touchscreen and explain to us what we are finding tonight. We still are keeping an eye on the American election, and we'll tell you the latest in terms of the date of what's going to happen. We are planning a big coverage of that election as well this year. All of this coming to you tonight. It's 24 minutes by the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. I have an unpleasant position now to take the first break. My bosses are very upset with me. They say that when I start the program and we get into the flight, we never take the commercial break. So I'm sorry, viewers. I have to take 5 minutes of commercial break. When we come back, the Spirit will have descended on us. I'll be right back.
We are back, bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with your front two, with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bets. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the Partial Daily Jackpot.
You always get way more with Betway.
As you can see.
All cyphers have been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh bread.
I'm a fat missy way.
The Pacho Bantama.
Matasi.
Her smile,
The fresh breath.
Me, Judy said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim Jom Kasan. Kile Hossein. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance, and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ekropon. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ekropon right after the Latte Junction, or in Ebri near the Ebri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
Stadium feeling, wow with them. Everything 12 January, I got him say about Afcon every year. My Afcon and Soja call. I will feel Hisense TV, Afcon TV, and a sound system. Yatiso say who? A Hisense Afcon double promo. The best you Afcon beer. I love Afcon beer. Can clear our Hisense and the Afcon TV so. Sadam Yedida. Let's a commentary no so chagua. Tieni clear our Hisense sound system so. Bora Hisense showroom bia. Na ube usa ya TV any sound system so. Esan Afcon ninti. Sa uta dia wa Hisense ya. Wasumu Jones Hisense nkwana ma 5 years manufacturer defect warranty. Sa Afcon radio. Yama nije no anya double. If you say Hisense mo hama mo. Hisense. Yede wanna perform Esan football ninti.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatments like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness, so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go Amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is the healer.
Customer.
Mika 10 Ghana.
10 Ghana.
10 Ghana cedis.
Na no dia, say na obenya.
10 Ghana cedis no. Media. 54,000 Ghana cedis.
54,000.
540 million.
Yeah. Yeah, the one na me ka me di you skasa.
Yeah. Ene na giga keka ade tena we. Tena wa boki. Ah, draw no na asase no we. Mami mi volume no.
Customer. One of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now. Or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
Okay, we're back on air. Thank you very much for your patience and for the break. We now have to serve you our regular menu of current affairs, political analysis, narratives, opinions, etc., news, stories, narratives, education, everything. I just got a copy of this book, and please get a copy of the book if you want. In the Eye of the Storm is the autobiography of Mr. Justice Francis Emile Short. It's completely amazing. It's completely amazing. Emile Short, thank you very much for putting this in the book. Wow. We have been researching into it and using it to do our stuff. It's entitled In the Eye of the Storm. It wasn't just the Short in the Eye of the Storm. It certainly was. Justice Emile Short has put up a book. I always applaud public people who write a book. Emile Short, congratulations. Thank you very much for that. He talks about everything that happened. Those of you of my generation remember the PV Obin trial and Ken Olosei and all of that. He discusses everything. His meetings with Flight Lieutenant Rawlings. He discusses it. Get a copy of the book and pay more money for it. It's by Justice Emile Short. Mr. Justice Emile Short. I got a copy in Kumasi where I was at the weekend. Okay. We're going to start with the big winners of the MPP event, and we're going to end with the Asensu story. We'll talk about SML contracts, what we know about it up until now. And please tell my producer to get me Senor Jose's photograph. Senor Jose, my friend Senor Jose, I need his photograph for the SML analysis. So if he's not watching, tell him that his name has been mentioned, and we're going to put his photograph out and talk about SML. My friend Senor Jose. He's a very vibrant, exuberant, and very intelligent young man. Okay, good evening again, and welcome to the show. All right, so after that, we'll deal with the Kisii Agyapong matter. I'm just looking on my desk to see if there's anything left, and then I head straight for the touch screen to mount it. I think I'm ready now to do that. Okay, excellento. As for my money, I think I agree with the first photograph on the screen, and it's about Aaron Michael Quay, Gabo, and very, very delighted to stand here on this occasion. When I was looking at Gabo back in the day in Clark House now, he has promised me an interview. He says maybe he'll come on Thursday, maybe he'll come next week. But whenever he comes, I'll bring up these stories from Presec. I was in Engman, he was in Clark, so it's just a walking distance from the two houses, house 2 for Clark and 3 for Engman. And he had a good friend called Laddles. And when he comes here, I ask him about Laddles. Laddles is also doing very well in public office these days. I don't want to mention where he is, but Laddles and Gabo were very, very good friends. And I still remember that. I mean, he served the party so well. And I will say this, when the election of 2008, the first round election was lost, and this is a story that you may have heard Mr. Kwabena Agyapong say. I wanted to be the first to get an interview from the candidate who won the vote but did not win the election. So I went to candidate Akufo-Addo's home very early in the morning. He was staying at East Legon at the time. When I went there, Michael Oquaye was there. And Michael Oquaye and I were both there when Kwabena Agyapong walked in, just before 6 o'clock around that time. The candidate had just woken up, and the results had been declared. The election was in the second round. We were there from 6 o'clock to about 7 or something, just before 7. And within a matter of 1 hour or so, the people who massed up in the house, they were counting over 500 people within that very short time. And then we exited, and the candidate has his meeting with his political people. So this is Michael Oquaye's dedication to the MPP cause. I'm talking about 2008. I'm not talking about 2016 or 2012, 2008, way back there. This is Michael Oquaye's dedication to the issue. When you give me this photograph without the NDC flag, somebody says that I've put MPP flag behind me. So please, cameraman, come and open it up and let them know that there's NDC flag here, there's MPP flag here. Yes, please. This is always better. You can frame in and frame out and frame in and frame out, yes. But when you frame in and it's just this one, then there's a problem, you know. We're a very radical political show. I mean, not many political shows have displaying flags of the leading political parties ahead of the election in their studio. But when you do that, you also sometimes come to these difficulties where a shot is taken from one angle, because here we deploy about 23 shots for this show all the time. We deploy all that all the time. So angles are coming from different places, and some of the angles may not have both flags, and people have been sending me texts, etc., etc. I've been explaining anyway. Congratulations, Michael Oquaye. We expect that coming from such a rich political tradition, a rich culture from his own home. His father is a former speaker. His father for many years had been an educator, raising young people like all of us through the universities and through Presec. In the universities, he taught students political science. He became the head of the political science department. Michael Oquaye has worked so hard for this party, and it is a delight to see that as Michael Oquaye is growing, Michael Oquaye is also coming. Congratulations, Gabo. I think that he was one of the biggest winners of last Saturday's events. This is our member of parliament, the police officer, is a member of parliament in Mankesim. You remember her? She's a widow. Her husband died the other day. She represented her husband, and I was surprised when I heard that people were challenging her for the primaries. I was quite surprised. But the Central Region guru, my minister, Kweku Ofori-Esiamah, assured me that she was going to win. I'll tell you another story about Kweku Ofori-Esiamah in Kumasi last Saturday about this event. But she assured me that she was going to win, and I was hoping that she would. She's also one of the very big winners of Saturday, and it's expected that Infantiman. Whoa. Please, can you get me the Black Stars tape? Because I like to speak about, I call him, I have a very personal relationship with him, so I don't call him KT Hammond. I call him Honorable Tahiru. Now, the T in his name, the KT, the T is Tahiru. So it's Kobena Tahiru Hammond from Adisadel College. So I call him Tahiru. You see, he has longevity in many things. I think in this Fourth Republic, he's the longest serving deputy minister. He served for deputy minister for 8 years, same portfolio. I don't know whether he's longer than Obi Amwa or Obi Amwa is longer than him. But he was the deputy minister for energy throughout the Kufuor period, where in Kufuor's period, the energy ministry changed frequently. I think Michael Quay had been there. There was Papa Kwesi Indum had been there. Albert Kandapa had been there. And Kofi Adda had been there. So that makes it 4 ministers during the period of President J. Kufuor at the Ministry of Energy. Guess who was the deputy minister throughout from beginning to end? Tahiru is my man, Let's listen to him.
See, if you haven't prepared any meal before you watch the match, I implore you, you should have your meal before you watch this match. That's what I complained about some time back during Kufuor's administration. When we had a can here in Accra, and Asamoah went and reported me to the president that I was criticizing them. We sit down there in the stadium with all our hearts, and they are falling down all over, and they are not scoring. Well, if one goal would the script pass through, please let's play for 1 goal. The man was talking about 3 goals. What do you need 3 goals for? The Blasters. Well, are they playing this evening, or I've actually lost track of them? But, Your Excellency, if you haven't prepared any meal before you watch the match, I implore you, you should have your meal before you watch this match. Blasters. That's what I complained about some time back during Kufuor's administration. When we had a can here in Accra, and Asamoah went and reported me to the president that I was criticizing them. We sit down there in the stadium with all our hearts, and they are falling down all over, and they are not scoring. Well, if 1 goal would the script pass through, please let's play for 1 goal. The man was talking about 3 goals. What do you need 3 goals for?
What do we need 3 goals for? The Bafana are leading 1-0. So that's KT Hammond. What you see is what you get. I like him for that. He's straightforward. He'll tell you what it is. So just move on and say it directly. And you have to give him something. He's now won Adansi Asokwa, I believe, for the 6th time, something like that. He came to Parliament from the United Kingdom. Those days he was a practicing barrister there. He was with Elizabeth Ohene and all of them. They used to call themselves the Ghana generation. When I did a story in London in 2001, about the Ghanaians exiled. So my story was about the Ghanaians who have been exiled, working in England. Now that the Rawlings is no more, were they going to come back? And Elizabeth Ohene was already in as Minister for Media Relations, coming from the BBC. And they were all sort of getting back. KT Hammond was a big part of that project, the project of those who came in after J.J. Rawlings was no more. And they called themselves the Ghana generation. Nidodu, lawyer Nidodu is also, Nibedu, lawyer Nibedu is also one of them. Lawyer Nibedu is a board member of the Public Procurement Authority. He was one of those people in the Ghana generation that I interviewed in 2001. How many years ago is that? 23 years. That's when I met Tahiru, and he came to report me to Dan Boche, who was at the time the general secretary of the party. He came back to Ghana. One day I was like, Dan Boche called me, he said, come to my office. I went there, he said, do you know this man? I said, yeah, I think I saw him in London. He said, what's him? I know. What's I'll be saying a question anyhow. I said, hey, who is this? And I was looking at him and said, oh, okay. He said, okay, Tiamon is going to be MP as Adansi Asokwa. Then I asked Namboche, but does he have a Ghanaian passport? He said, hey, look, you are asking all these funny questions. This was a conversation in 2000, before 2001, in 2000, before he filed his nomination then. And KT Hammond has been through up until now. I was delighted that he won, but I have to say that I was surprised. I was thinking that Katie Amon should drop this thing before this guy's going to embarrass him and lose. I was very worried. I was asking everyone that what is happening. They said, they don't know about Katie Amon's place. So I was very worried, and I was thinking he was not going to win. But then the results came, and then he surprised me and everyone. Tahiru, I salute you, and the Black Stars will score more than 1 goal, so don't worry about it. Another big winner from Saturday is Katie Hammond. Yes, now this is the story. This is the story. Now, the viewers, you have to listen to this story, because Osikeni Yeboah here is my man. Osikeni Yeboah is the guy on the... So he's a barrister at law. He's a land specialist, land law specialist. His CV is particularly impressive. He has an MBA. He has many things. But I'll tell you something, and I don't have his permission to say it, but I'll tell you. Osikeni Yeboah is responsible for Prophet Bushiri, who came here to speak in 2016 or so. I didn't know that. I met him, and he was telling me that he's my very, very, very good friend. We go back way back in Legon when he ran for SRC. I gave him that name, Osikeni Yeboah. His actual name is lawyer Obri Yeboah. His name is Obri Yeboah. But I call him Osikeni Yeboah because it's when we were in school. He was very wealthy, you know. I come from Kumasi, and we were in Commonwealth Hall together, and we were fraternizing as we always do. And he explained that he wanted to run for JCR president. And, you know, normally when you say that, the boys sort of check you out. So they came to see me. We were gossiping when he wasn't there about, Yeboah says he wants to run for, and I told them that Charlie Yeboah, he has money. And I don't want to mention their names because they are all important people in corporate these days. And then one of them told me that, are you sure? I said, Charlie, the guy has money, brutal. You know, Commonwealth, we like people who have money. Yeah, Commonwealth boys, we like people who have money. So they said, okay, let's go and see him. So we went to his room and said, we understand that you're running for JCR president, so we want to help you. He was very enthusiastic about it. We worked together for his campaign. And then on the day of the face-to-face in Commonwealth, he said he wanted to arrive at the place with loud music. That had not happened before. You know, face-to-face in Commonwealth, you arrive with Ashin Jama, and then he said he wants to arrive with loud music. So we set up a stereo system. I was carrying one of the speakers. Pore was carrying, I won't tell you who Pore is because a high-profile person. So Pore was carrying one of the speakers. We played Lumbe songs, and then we descended into the place. It was a fantastic night. That's how I know him. That's how well I know Obri Yeboah. So he's really my man. I didn't know he was running for Subin. I didn't know. Last week, Monday, was it just a week before I had not checked, but I know that he had a connection with Subin since 2000s. Those days, he used to have a travel agency. When you are going to Kumasi, or when you get into Kumasi from KNUST, that long road that goes all the way to the Cocoa Board, when you get to the Asafo area, on the right-hand side, he has a travel agency there. So we always stop there and shout his name or something like that when we are in Kumasi, and he'll come out. Those days we were on vacation. And he has a very thriving travel agency then in those days. That's why we call him Osikeni Yeboah. He's been an entrepreneur forever. When he was a student, he was an entrepreneur. So Osikeni Yeboah called me about a week ago, so just 10 days ago. So I saw the call, I picked. I said, hey, Osikeni, he said, Paulus, now we'll make a contest, don't you? I said, which contest? He said, because to be. I said, hey, are you sure? He said, am I sure? I said, that's my filing nomination. He was laughing at me. I said, so what do we need to do? He said, Bermiska, Paulus, Bermiska. I said, I'm Bermiska. He said, Kopel, come down for no more can be for Zoom lion. Me, here's bruta. Me say, you me you not to her. I said, are you sure? He said, oh, Paulus. I said, he said, oh, Paulus. You me you not sure. But I had known that Osikeni had a relationship with Subin since SK Boafo's days. So let's see what I have here. This is Eugene Entry. I'm going to tell you another concern story. We are building it up slowly. I don't want to. It's a Tuesday. We are all getting tired. We've come home. So I want to build it up slowly before I get to the brutal issues. This is Eugene Entry, my friend, and Andy Apiakubi. The day after I spoke to Osikeni, I went out in the afternoon to have lunch. I don't often do that, but I went to have lunch somewhere in Accra. Then in the place where I was having lunch, just as I was about to finish, I saw the two of them walk in. Eugene came in first, and Apiakubi followed. And they hadn't seen me, but I had seen them. So I told my colleague, I was one of the guys, I told him that, look at them. They are going to plot against Akufo-Addo. I've caught them. And then we all laughed. So when I finished, I went to their table. The both of them were there. And I had my phone in my hand like that. So Apiakubi saw me first. Of course, I've known Apiakubi from Legon. He was an SRC president. That's a very long time ago. He was SRC president before 2000, a very long time ago. So I was holding my phone like this, and then I went into their company. And I dropped my phone and I said, I'm recording it. I'll go and play it for him. Then they all laughed. And Andy said, yeah, Ndi Akufo-Addo. And Eugene said, Auntie, I can't answer my telephone. And I said, but Eugene, Obri Eboa is challenging you. He said, yeah, I know. Do you know him? I said, he's my man. And I said, but what's going to happen? He said, well, he doesn't think that Obri Eboa stands a chance. He thinks he's going to win. Frankly, if I have to tell you the truth, viewers, I believed Eugene. I was struggling to see how my friend Obri Eboa is going to win this thing. And I mean, I thought to myself that, hey, if Eugene doesn't win this thing, he's in trouble. Oh. This Oforiatta thing, if Eugene doesn't win this thing, he's in trouble. I was telling myself. So I shook hands with them, we spoke, and I asked Apia Kubi whether he's okay. He said that, yeah, he's struggling, but he thinks that he will eventually make it. I congratulated both of them, wished them well. I told them I'll be in Kumasi for the Saturday event, so maybe I'll see them. All right, then I left. So then I arrived in Kumasi on Saturday. Was it Saturday? I think it was Friday. Oh, was it Saturday? Friday. I arrived in Kumasi on Friday night when the team arrived later than me, but I arrived a bit early, Friday night. In my company at the Kumasi airport was Peter McMenu, the famous party chairman of MPP. Now, Peter McMenu had been met by his MPP people. Rita Sobayer was there, and some key people had come to see him at the airport. So I was eavesdropping on their conversation. So I heard Peter McMenu asking questions. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen here? And the atmosphere at that place was somebody comes and asks, are we winning? And they ask which constituency, because, you know, the constituencies were many. So as I eavesdropped on the conversation, I heard one of them, McMenu, asking him that, how is Subin? And the guy said it's 50-50. So I became interested. So I spoke across to them. And I said, Uncle Peter, Subin also 50-50. And he said, Zanoka. And I said, hey, Chief, are you sure Subin 50-50? He said, yeah, Subin, I heard you. I heard means for who, you know, that kind of conversation, you really can't disclose who you support. So when he said I heard you can't ask I heard for who, and then he has to spill the beans. So he won't say it. So he just said, Subin, I heard Pam. And I said, well, how did this happen? How did Obri Eboa be able to make Subin a head on Friday nights, few hours to the voting? I thought that was quite impressive. So when the guy left, I asked McMenu, is this somebody that you can rely on? I'll come to this. Which photographs are these? I'm looking for Isaac Osei and SK Boafo. That's wrong, please. SK Boafo is an old man. SK Boafo, the first MP for Subin, that's not him. SK Boafo is an old man. SK Samson Kweku Boafo, member of parliament for Subin constituency. It was 2000, 2004, and I believe Isaac Osei came in 2009 after 8 going forward. Okay, so the guy told McMenu that the thing. So I went back to McMenu and asked him that, Uncle Mark, what does the guy say? He said, that's what he's saying about Subin. And Mark said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm coming to cover it and observe it and all that. He said, but where's your minister, Kuku Furesa? I said, he's in Kumasi. He said, what's he doing in Kumasi? Tell him to come and see me. I said, okay, I'll tell him, and then etc., etc. So that's how Subin ended. But this is the Subin situation. Eugene, perhaps let me start with Obri Eboa. Yes, Obri Eboa here was nurturing his ambition for Subin after SK Boafo. SK Boafo left in 2008, I believe. SK Boafo was 96 to 2000, 2000 to 2004, 2004, 2008. At the time SK Boafo was MP, there were speculations about who is going to replace him. And many thought that his son, Yaw Boafo, who is today the president of the Ghana Bar Association, might be interested, because I was working as Asante Kotoko at the time. Yaw Boafo was Asante Kotoko lawyer. I was quite established in Kumasi as a young man, and being a Kotoko lawyer made him very famous and quite popular. So if he wanted to run for parliamentary seat, it wasn't going to be that difficult. So people were speculating that after Samson Kweku Boafo, his son, Yaw Boafo, will become the Subin guy. But Obri Eboa was there. In those days, Obri Eboa was there. He had begun to nurture the constituency. What happened to Obri Eboa is that because he was such a fierce Kufuor loyalist, and President Kufuor brought Isaac Osei. I'll cancel this one. This is not SK Boafo. President Kufuor brought Isaac Osei to be the MP when Isaac Osei was taken from the High Commission to lead Cocoa Board. Because Isaac Osei was coming from President Kufuor, it was very difficult for Obri Boahene to compete. So he gave his very loyal support to Isaac Osei, believing that after Isaac Osei would be him. So Obri Eboa has been, for those who are surprised, like I was with the figures, but this is really the history of Subin, as far as I know, based on my relationship with Uskeni Eboa, who has now been elected. So he was such a brutal Kufuor lawyer as an LSC. He would be with Richard Anani, he was with Kojo PNM. I mean, he was in Kumasi doing what has to be done for the MPP back in those days. So he had a lot of respect for Isaac Osei, complete, total respect for Isaac Osei. Everyone does, don't we all? So he couldn't contest. Then the Isaac Osei situation became uncomfortable when after Akufo-Addo became the leader of the party. And people around Akufo-Addo at the time were particularly supportive of Eugene Entry. That's what happened. Most of the people around Akufo-Addo at that time, you can name them, Nana Asante Bediye, to everybody. All those people were particularly supportive of Eugene Entry. So after Isaac Osei had defeated Eugene Entry in one of the contests, I believe it was 2012 or so, people felt after Isaac Osei had announced that he was no longer interested in the seat. That's what happened. Isaac Osei had announced that he was no longer interested in the Subin seats. And so, Eugene can have it, sort of. Eugene had then started mobilizing his situation. Mind you, Obri Abua is now, is now gone onto the other path. Obri Abua is gone away because from Isaac Osei, the thing is going to Eugene. Yes, thank you very much. That is SK Boafo. Yes, Samson Kweku Boafo. One of the good fathers I've had in this career of journalism. He's always been very interested in my work back in the day, and I'll go to Kumasi and I'll stay in his house, and I'll go to his house. I don't stay there, but I'll go to his house, and he'll show me around. We'll go to the stadium together. Very, very, very nice man. Sometimes I go to London, and I call him. He's there. I go and see. He has a church in London called Edmonton Temple. Huge one. Very, very successful church, SK Boafo's church. So SK Boafo was the MP. Then comes Isaac Osei. And then after Isaac Osei comes Eugene Entry. That's Senior Jose. I'll come to him. Let me have Eugene Entry and Eugene Entry back. So Eugene Entry comes in that manner. Okay. Thank you. This is Eugene. What then happens with Eugene Entry is that after power is won in 2016, Akufo-Addo becomes president. He becomes a member of parliament. Something went wrong somewhere. Eugene Entry appears to have fallen out, or they have fallen out with him. Some of the key people around President Akufo-Addo are no longer excited about Eugene for some reason. I don't know. I've not checked. I've not asked, because in politics these things happen. We are on the sidelines covering it, so it's not everything you see that you ask, but you try and understand what you are seeing. What was clear and obvious is that Eugene Entry had fallen out with the key decision makers around President Akufo-Addo. I'm not sure for what, but he had been made Deputy Minister for Works and Housing in the 2017 list of ministers, appointed under Article 79. And Eugene had not been repeated, even though he had won his seat. So that made it very obvious for any observer that there was a problem between Eugene Entry, whether philosophy, culture, I don't know, and some of the key decision makers in the government. There was a clear problem there, because Eugene had won his seat in Subin, but he had not been repeated as a minister. So, and both he and Atachia had been chucked out of the Ministry of Works and Housing, replaced by different people. So it appeared that yes. And then came the attempted coup d'etat against Ken Ofori-Atta, and you saw that Eugene was leading it. So it was very obvious by then, even to a cursory observer, that there was a problem between Eugene Entry and the key decision makers around President Akufo-Addo. That was very, very clear. Here was Eugene Entry leading a charge against Ken Ofori-Atta, and it surprised me very much, because the first time I met Eugene in Laboni, when he was introduced to me as a Ghanaian abroad who is coming to Parliament, it was in the house of Ken Ofori-Atta and the company of Ken Ofori-Atta. So I remember that. So when I saw Eugene, given all the circumstances, there was clearly a problem with this situation. Okay, back to Isaac Osei. Let me show. Now, Isaac Osei, you would have noticed, may also have had some difficulty with Jubilee during the time that he was at TOR as Tema Oil Refinery Chief Executive. We know the circumstances of it. But it is quite obvious that whatever difficulty there was between Jubilee and Isaac Osei had been completely and beautifully repaired by the time 2021 came. For that reason, you will see that Isaac Osei had been appointed by President Akufo-Addo as chairman of GAPOHA, one of the most important establishments, revenue agencies for the government. And you know, Isaac also has an economist background. Really, that's what he is. He's a trade economist. That's what Isaac Osei is. So putting him in GAPOHA sort of connected with the fact that he was needed, and also very importantly that he was back in the good books of the Jubilee House people. Okay. Meanwhile, Eugene Entry's relationship is deteriorating. Isaac Osei's relationship is building up. Eugene Entry also appeared not to have cleaned up his exits and detachments from Isaac Osei when he inherited the seat. That's the problem. That's one main problem. Eugene appeared not to have tidied up his inheritance of Isaac Osei's seat in Subin. That happened. That's obvious. And some people I know told me that Eugene and say you should go and make peace with Isaac Osei. And I asked that, why is Eugene having war with Isaac Osei? I said, no, they're not having war, but Eugene is younger. He should go and make peace with Isaac Osei. I've heard that a few people say that. I don't know the details. So now, this is Eugene's conundrum. He's inherited a seat from Isaac Osei, who took it nicely and beautifully from SK Boafo, and SK Boafo was happy to hand over Subin to Isaac Osei. That happened. Now, Eugene comes in on the strength of the Akufo-Addo revolution of the MPP in 2013, 14, 15, 16, that period when the party was revolutionized by the Akufo-Addo philosophy. That's the period that Eugene comes in, he flies in with that bandwagon and becomes member of parliament. He has not repaired his relationship with Isaac Osei. And then he falls out with the very people who bet him into the party. Eugene Entry falls out with the people who bet him, the people who introduced him to journalists, introduced him to people and got him really started politically. Those people, he's falling out with them. So he really doesn't have legs to stand on. So Isaac Osei then remembers, where's my friend? Yes, Obiri Yeboah. Isaac Osei remembers Obiri Yeboah and thinks that, if there's somebody here in Subin who has not been looked at well, I think it is Obiri Yeboah, the lawyer. You should get the lawyer. Obiri Yeboah is also SK Boafo's boy. So the godfathers of Subin, Isaac Osei, SK Boafo, they think Obiri Yeboah. Who is going to support Eugene? The people who birthed Eugene into the party, the Akufo-Addo people, they don't like Eugene anymore. So Akufo-Addo people, Obiri Yeboah himself, and his own people. I told you he had a travel agency, he had businesses in Subin, so his own capacity, plus the goodwill of Isaac Osei, plus the goodwill of SK Boafo, is what resulted in the overwhelming victory that Eugene had. That's what that Obiri Yeboah had. That's why Eugene got 100 and Obiri Yeboah got 700 in a race that people were not even looking at, in a race that people didn't think was going on. People thought Eugene had. By the Monday before the Saturday when I met Eugene in Accra with the company of Apia Kubi, I was sure that Eugene was going to win. I love Obiri Yeboah to bits, of course, he's my good friend, but I wasn't sure that he was going to win. Even me, who calls myself political journalist and who is interested in these matters, I was unaware that Obiri Yeboah was running until he called me days to the event, Monday to Saturday. He called me and said, Apollos, now me call a campaign on Bremiska. And I said, which campaign are you talking about? He said, I'm running for Subin. I actually called Rosemary and told her that, Charlie, because we both know him. I told Rosemary that Oskeni is running for Subin. He said, hey, no, Nasamaba. I said, Nasamaba, big time. And we all laughed it off. And I called our friends and said, Charlie, Oskeni is running. Some of them told me that they know, they've seen it. And no, he was very popular in Commonwealth, particularly popular. So we all know him. So I didn't think, but then on Saturday, I began to analyze it. Now I'll tell you another story. This is the last story. Let's get back to the list of people. I'll tell you another story. That it makes politics very, very interesting. Okay. Get back to the rule. Okay, so that's Matthew Opoku Prempeh. He won handsomely. Thank you very much. Gideon Bwaku is another guy who won really well. I spoke with him today. He says he's still in the village. He'll be back on Saturday, something like that. And I see many journalists have called him about it. He's done excellently well. Congratulations. So on Saturday, Friday, I went to bed in Kumasi quite late as usual. And then Saturday morning, around very early in the morning, I spoke to Kuku Furesiama, the Minister for Transport. And he said, hey, Charlie, wake up, you bed, wake up. I said, what's happening? He said, nothing, wake up. Now we finish the operation. I said, which operation? He said, oh, we finished. I said, what's going to happen? He said, Asensu, okay, that was my first question. Asensu, okay. He said, Asensu is going to win. Voting hadn't started, and I'm explaining to you how these are politicians work into these things, work into the night, and understand what is happening. It's not simple at all. It's a complicated matter. Now, he was telling me early in the morning before voting started that I shouldn't worry, Asensu will be okay. And I said, but how do you know he will laugh at me? I said, what about Howard Kumsin? He said, Howard Kumsin will be fine. I will win big. You go win big. Voting hadn't started. He was just telling me. Then I said, Eugene. He said, oh, Eugene go lose. I said, are you serious? He said, oh, Eugene go lose this morning. I said, but the voting will start at 7. He said, I'm telling you, check. He was laughing at me. Eugene go lose. He predicted almost everything that happened in the situation in Ashanti region, especially. And then Howard Kumsin's place. He predicted. Then I asked him, what about Abna? He said, Abna go win. I said, really? He said, yeah, Abna go win. I'm referring to the Deputy Minister of Finance who won a very handsome victory at Etiwa in the Eastern region. So this is the conversation we had on Saturday. I slept again. He said he was going to hang around until about midday and then he would sleep. I said, about midday, he said the voting went around 2 o'clock, so by 4 they finished counting. But as far as he's concerned, the work is over. They've done what they have to do. and they've spoken to everybody they have to speak to, and he thinks that these are the outcomes that are going to happen based on the work that the candidates had done. So that was also very interesting. Gideon Boako here was I was in a meeting with him. I won't tell you the rest of the parties, much earlier, months ago. And in this meeting, Gideon was being urged to step down for Frida Prempeh. I just happened to be there and they were talking about this. So Gideon was hesitating. He said, no, he's not going to step down. He's going to focus on this thing. He's going to win. And Gideon had some data showing how the party's votes had been going down, even though the party had been winning the parliamentary seats, how the votes has been going down over a certain period. So when the meeting ended, I walked out with Gideon and I asked him that, but are you sure that you can win? He said, oh, Tano, I'll win, Paul, I'll win. I said, but I sort of buy the argument they were making to you that, you're working for the boss, stay there, push the agenda, let's get the boss, He said, oh, but I can do both. As for the boss, I've been doing it. I was a youth organizer in Ashanti region. I can do all of it. I said, but if you are sure you're going to win, by all means go for it. But if you don't know whether you're going to win or not, then because of the image of the boss, Gideon, please, this thing, have a look at it. He said, Paul, let me tell you, this thing, I'm going to win it. I said, I hear you. God be with you. That was 2.5 months ago, something like that. So today I called him. I sent him a video, actually. I sent him a video of something we had done here. And then he called me. I think he received the video. He called me by WhatsApp, yeah. So I picked and I said, hey, Charlie, congratulations. So he said, I told you I was going to win. I told you. I said, this one, you've done very well. When I come into Accra, he says he is there till Saturday or something like that. And he said that he has seen the video that I sent him, so he will look at it and then get back to me. Congratulations, Gideon. That was really good. That was really good. Now, this is the one. This is the one. Hawa Kumsin. Hawa Kumsin, look, viewers, she's brutal. After everything that was said, Hawa Kumsin got. Let me write it down. Hawa Kumsin. Hawa Kumsin, she's brutal. When I called her and I said that she's brutal, I'll tell you what she said. Hawa Kumsin is brutal. Totally brutal. When I called her and I said that, Madam, you are brutal, in the soft voice, you even think it's, I said, oh, God is brutal. God is brutal. That's what she said. I said, Madam, this one, you are brutal. She said, oh, God is brutal. God is brutal. I think that she did very well. And for the fact that she had been challenged by men throughout this period and she keeps defeating the men, I think there's something to say for Hawa Kumsin. Her competitor got 97 and she got 1,300 and something. That's why I said it is brutal. I mean, I think she's the biggest winner from Saturday. Ultimately, Hawa Kumsin is the biggest winner from Saturday. This was a significant victory. And the first time I told me that Hawa will win big. Win big, I thought meant 300 difference, something like that, because of what we had heard and what we had been told, and then how other voting that occurred there, the presidential primaries had gone. All of us who love Hawa Kumsin were sort of on edge. What's going to happen? And I kept calling my people, have you checked what's happening in Cape Coast, in Kaswa? I kept telling them, they said, what? I said, check Hawa Kumsin, what's happening? They said, we don't have it yet. Sometime around 3 o'clock, they called me and said, they've sent me Hawa Kumsin, I should look at it. And I said, did she win? They said, yeah, she won, but I should look at it. I looked at it in 97, 1,300 and something. I mean, that was good. That was powerful. Madam, God is brutal, but you two are brutal small. Yeah, I think she won a good grace. Let me come now to sorry. I need to get it back here. Mm-hmm. Okay, now to Bantama Asensu Boakye. Where do I begin? Because I'm leading this into a conversation, a bigger conversation about the accusations against Asensu Boakye. You know, the Kennedy Japan had run a campaign in the constituency for and on behalf of his brother and had said that Asensu Boakye, he had alleged corruption against Asensu Boakye. This is a photograph that we took on Saturday, and I've seen people using it, and I get angry because they don't put a Good Evening Ghana there. This was our photographer who did such an excellent job. How he was able to capture the two of them standing this way in Bantama. A photographer, we owe him 10 cedis. We have to pay him. We have to pay him more. This was a very particularly good photograph. Really, really good photograph. And I don't know whether this had happened before the singing or after the singing. Kofi is there. You can tell us. Kofi was with them. So on the morning of the campaign, as I told you, and I spoke early in the morning to Fraser, and I asked him that's the first question. And so we'll be fine. No problem. So there was some significant confidence. Now, Kennedy Japan had been talking about about Asenso. He had gone to the constituency to mount a campaign against him and had alleged corruption against him. He had alleged that he is in the business of selling government houses in his capacity as Works and Housing Minister for private developers and pocketing the money. It was very, very unwholesome. Statements came out from Works and Housing, etc., etc. I'll get to that in a minute. But then all of these fracas then culminated into a worship challenge between the two candidates on voting morning. A worship challenge. Have a look at Asenso leading the charge and how his opponent responded, using the same gospel song, changing the words, one to be pro, one to be anti. This is how it happened. All right. I like the guy's song. He said, "One tema na obeye, one tema na obeye, eradiaka se obeye one tem." Anyway, so this was this contest now became a big deal because one of the important people in the NPP had weighed into it. His brother is running. His brother here, Kennedy Japon's brother here, Honorable a nice gentleman lawyer, is running, and so Kennedy came in and alleged that Asenso had taken government bungalows and sort of put them out for sale, sold it. Okay. So the story became a media story. Now I'm coming back onto something. And I often hear people, especially people abroad, they call me and they ask me that, "Charlie, this is your program, people are complaining about it." I said, "What is happening? What are they complaining about?" See, they are complaining that you defend government too much. I said, "But it is not true. They should say what I have said, which is untrue." And I'm always at labor to sort of explain that everything I've said here is true. This issue about defending government means what? And it has been assumed that once a person is a journalist, he ought to be against government. That's okay, no problem. But the fact that government has done something or government is being discussed, it doesn't mean that a journalist should always be against government, even when government is doing something right. Even when the propaganda against government is not true. Even when the journalist's story against government is untrue. And I've also been accused of attacking other journalists. You say that Manasseh's work is crass. I've been using that word all the time. I was delighted with this narrative developed by Samson Ladia Yenini of Joy FM of all places. Joy FM of all places, they say that they are independent media, they don't praise government, they are after government and all of that. I have not understood it, but it's a position they are entitled to take. Because I think that a journalist looks at the matter and makes a determination, same way that a judge does. And you can take your opinion one way or the other. And if journalism has conducted work, and that work is crass, we have to say it as it is. Here is Samson Ladi of Joy FM and Newsfile, my good friend, now defending the position that Asenso took on the matter of redevelopment against Kennedy Japan. And Samson Ladi is criticizing the work of journalists. Something they said is only Paul Adumochi who does, and he shouldn't be doing it. Something they say, oh, as for Paul Adumochi, every day a minister does something. Cecilia Dapa goes to steal money, and Paul Adumochi is defending him. Hawa Kumsing cannot speak English. Paul Adumochi is defending her. Any minister does something. As for Akufo-Addo, if you go and say it, the other one, dear Basa, Paul Adumochi will mount his touchscreen, and all that Paul Adumochi says is true, by the way. Nothing up till today has been proven to be untrue. We are coming to Kisia Jabin. Our fight with Isla Dapa has now ended. We have won. We are coming to show you why. Now, Samson Ladi goes on a tangent in fierce defense of Asenso's position, which I agree with. Asenso's position is correct. As I read a statement from the Works and Housing, he's not stealing anything. He's not stealing government bungalows. That's not what he's doing. He is ensuring, as has been a policy that he has inherited, to be sure that space is used in a certain way that is profitable to the state. and to the state actors who need these bungalows. Fundamentally, that's what Asensu is doing. That's what redevelopment is about. But it was said that he was stealing. I know that he wasn't stealing. Joy FM, Samson Lardy now comes and says Asensu was not stealing at all, and that the journalist's work was crass. Listen.
Irresponsible journalism can be costly. Some media ran to press minutes after the Asen Central MP alleged that the Minister for Housing, Francis Asensu Boakye, and former Chief Justice, Kwesi Anin-Yeboah, had engaged in some corrupt conduct over a bungalow for Justice Samuel Mafosao after his death in August 2021. The indecent haste to give currency to the allegation was as shameful as it was most unprofessional, because the allegation was one that was easily verifiable, but not verifying put those spreading it and media houses at risk of defamation suits they simply cannot defend. Now, even if, as later explained by his brother and lawyer, Raphael Ejapong, who is seeking to wrestle the Bantama constituency from the minister, was true, that the concern was lack of consent from the judiciary to take over the property, that was also very easily verifiable just by a phone call. It was the height of reckless journalism to publish such defamatory comments by a man seeking votes for his brother without the basic checks required by the ethics, natural justice, and common sense. I train journalists on these issues, and I know too well that no journalism school teaches this kind that tarnishes the practice generally. I defend journalists, but don't come calling me, not even for the frequent free legal advice, when you are induced or decide on your own to be this unprofessional. Apologize now to mitigate what those affected may do. You know, they can sue just anyone, any entity or group of persons spreading the false claims. Joy News Checks brought up this February 2023 agreement between the Judicial Service and the Ministry of Works and Housing. It was an agreement to pull down 4 of those small houses sitting on large tracts of land into 20 modern houses. The judge's house is one of 2 allocated by the ministry to the Service for Superior Court Judges. Upon completion, that's within 2.
So yes, that was Samson. We just cut that short. So this is Samson Lardy of Joy FM mounting a defense for a government minister, Bantamas Asensu Boakye. So I'm looking at it in 2 angles. Now, I've not finished with the big winners of Saturday. I'll come back after Asensu. I'll take one last big winner from Central Region. I'll tell you who it is. It's a big winner from Central, a very, very big winner from Central Region. Everyone said that he was going to lose, but he won. I'll come to that in a minute. But here's Asensu's situation. Bantama Asensu Boakye is the minister, and he's been accused of corruption. When we do these things here and say that this accusation of corruption is wrong, it's crass, the work that the journalist did was poor. We have been accused of defending government. This is Samson Lardy Ayini. This is not Paul Ademoshina. Why is he doing that? He's doing that because the facts are so clear. When you look at the facts and they are clear, and Cecilia Dapa has done nothing wrong, the fact that everybody wants to hang Cecilia Dapa doesn't mean that as a news media, we shouldn't interrogate the facts and be able to say that it looks like she's done something wrong. Everything points to that because of the hula baloo. But here are the facts. She has not done anything wrong. That is a government minister. That means that you are stomach journalist, you are chess journalist, football, all the names they called me over the years. Stomach journalist, Because we are interrogating facts. That's what journalism is about, isn't it? It's about the interrogation of facts so that you can present a view, and the view you present must be sustainable intellectually. If it's not sustainable intellectually, it will blow out of the cover. So whatever view you present as a journalist, after you have interrogated the facts, should be sustainable intellectually. It's backbone. The narrative that you present, the backbone thereof, must be intellectual. That's the point. Evidence-based and intellectual. Once you're able to do that, they will not be able to come to say that what you said was wrong or what you said was not well researched. And so they will say, when they are frustrated, that you are a stomach journalist, which is okay. That's what Asensu did. Listen to some of the language that Asensu used to describe the media. Listen to some of the language that Samson Lardy used to describe the media. Listen.
It was the height of reckless journalism to publish such defamatory comments by a man seeking votes for his brother without the basic checks required by the ethics, natural justice, and common sense. I train journalists on these issues, and I know too well that no journalism school teaches this kind that tarnishes the practice generally. I defend journalists, but don't come calling me, not even for the frequent free legal advice, when you are induced or decide on your own to be this unprofessional. Apologize now to mitigate what those affected may do.
You see, when you're a child of God, you'll be vindicated. This is Samson Lardy you were watching. It's not Paul Ademochi you were watching. Oh. I don't have red background. That's for multimedia. My background is blue, and then it's NDC, and it's MPP, and it's very nice and welcoming. And I'm not saying this is not nice and welcoming, please. I'm just talking about mine. I said this is red, mine is blue. In addition to being blue, it's nice, it's welcoming. You have the legal skill. My spectacles is here beautifully. And then you have a screen that I can write on. It's so nice, beautiful. Okay, so what you just saw is not Paul Ademochi. It's Samson Lardy Ayinini of Joy FM, the home of independent. Oh, they have a beautiful line. I've forgotten. The home of independent, fearless. Yes, I like the fearless part. The home of independent, fearless, something journalism. That's Samson Lardy defending the position of the government minister, Akufo-Addo's minister. Is he wrong? No, he's not wrong. Is he doing journalism? Yes, he's doing journalism. Is it good for him to be critical of other journalists' work? Yes, indeed it is. It is good for him to be critical of other journalists' work. When you take a ruling from the High Court and you take it to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal read it and they want to write their judgment, they can be critical of the High Court judge. It's always in the law books. They will say that the learned trial judge lost sight of this, learned trial judge did a bad job, the learned trial judge so and so and so. That is checks and balances. Montesquieu wrote about it in 1778 in a book entitled L'Esprit et Loi. It is checks and balances, but they accuse Paul Ademochi. Samson Lardy is right there doing it as well. He's defending government. Samson Lardy, is he a stomach journalist? No, he's not. Is he a great journalist? Yes, he is. He's defending government. So does it make him stomach journalist? No. Was Asensu right? Yes, Asensu was right. And Asensu won. So I needed to use this opportunity to sort of look at it. Look at this matter. Look at this event. Look at this conversation that they've been having about the style of journalism, critical of journalists, and always defending government position. Always defending. I'm coming to Senor Jose on SML. Thank you for reminding me. I'm coming to Senor Jose. Senor Jose is going to be angry with me tonight. Okay, so let's get to back to the parliamentary contest. We are done with Asensu now. Thank you, Samson Lardy. So this is Lawrence Agyensam. He's the... and this is, I believe, his third time trying to run for PC, the chief executive of Ghana Exim Company. And he's in the central region, Heman Lower Denchira. And he competed against the deputy minister for Labor, Charles Rekubrobe. They call him Papi. He's from St. Augustine's, so the St. Augustine's boy. So he's a nice guy. It was looking very difficult whether Agyensam was going to win or not. But he's not a regular politician in those terms. But this is not his first time as PC. This is not his first time as attempting to be a PC, and he had lost the other occasions. And he went in this time, he's chief executive of Ghana Exim, and he won a very, very good victory. So I just some congratulations. Congratulations, sir. So he's going to be the MPP's parliamentary candidate for the area. Okay, 22 minutes past 10 o'clock now. We're done with the big winners from Saturday. We end on Lawrence Ajin Sam. I'll take text messages. When I come back, we are shooting with SML, and then we are heading for Kisi Ajabe, who is lying on the canvas and telling Cecilia Dapa that he didn't find corruption and corruption-related offenses. I'll talk about the lady at GFA who has spoken to somebody about what I said. I'm not sure whether she's very serious, but I'll talk about it. So let's take text messages. We begin with Antoinette. Antoinette, what are people saying?
Okay, thank you, Paul. Tonight, to start with Nuhu Bamba, he says, what an excellent submission, Paul. Samuel Ofosuba says, the truth about the matter is Honorable Kenny Japon's political declining began from the flag bearership and his brother's MPs lost. Okay, Samuel Ofosuba continues to say that the NPP parliamentary candidate elections held last Saturday demonstrated how seriously they are poised to win the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Their enthusiasm and transparency depict how they pragmatically are buoyant forward to break the 8 for the NPP fraternity in the history of the Ghanaian political spectrum. Most of those elected to the parliamentary candidates are young and exuberant to campaign for victory. This shows that Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, Walewale Darling Boy, will mount on the presidential seat for 2025 to 2032, inshallah. Okay, Nana also says, hi, Paul. Last week you promised to play Fifi Kote's tape, but you didn't, and you assured us that you would do it tonight. Please really play it for us tonight. So ask Paul about that. Graham Negos has this to say about the office of the OSP. He says, good evening, Paul. My problem is, do we really need 4 different institutions to fight one menace, which is corruption? I have been struggling to understand the difference between the UECO, the OSP, the GPS, and the SHRAJ in terms of their fight against corruption. All I see is unnecessary interference and duplications of duties. My humble appeal is that 3 of these institutions should be abolished and the remaining one be strengthened. Thank you. Now, lastly, Amos Nuama Dodi says the NPP must scrap the delegate electoral system. In our just ended parliamentary primaries, each aspirant spent at least 1.8 million Ghana cedis on delegates. The breakdown is we have an average of 900 delegates per constituency. The average speculative token paid across the country was 2,000 Ghana cedis. When you multiply it, it's about 1.8 million cedis. That is more than their salary in 4 years. Plus their ex gratia. So before you go to worry any MP for development, do the mathematics first and note that if you do not pay the delegates, you will lose automatically. To you, Sarah.
Okay, so coming from Sugri Jonas, he says, good evening, Paul and your lovely team. I bring you greetings from the NPP just ended parliamentary primaries. We may sound disappointed in some areas, but we still remain united. We cannot afford to disappoint Ghanaians. Coming from Fatal Ben, he says, Mr. Paul, good evening. I'm your regular listener of your show. I really learn a lot from you. My name is Fatal Ben from Nkoko Zungu. And coming from Baba Chairman, he says, ineptitude is an understatement, talking about Kisi Ajabe. Details of whatever investigation the OSP is doing is out in the public domain for malicious intentions. From Baba Chairman again, he says the OSP is a very serious office, but the posturing of Kisi is undermining the office. And lastly from Baba Chairman Tamale, he says, give power to a man and you will know his true attitude and real color. Kisi got all the praises, but power, they say, corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. What do you have for us, Angelo?
Great. A friend, Sugri Jonas, says, good evening, Paul and your lovely team. I bring you greetings from the NPP. Moving on. Alhaj Yusuf says, did the GFA just issue a statement apologizing to Ghanaians for their poor performance and exit from the ongoing CAF tournament? The FA president stated that he knows how passionate Ghanaians are about football. I thought I'll say how passionate the GFA executives are to the development of Ghana football. Until we redefine football and who should have oversight responsibility over the GFA and demystify what they call interference, they'll continue to engage in corruption. Okay, anyway, moving on. We have from Junior Akbar saying, welcome back, good evening Ghana, congratulations to all the MPs who won. Those who lost should take heart, better chance next time. Congratulations once again to Honorable Farouk Ali Mahama. The good people of Yanid believe in you and they will continue to believe in you. We also have from Rebecca D. Lancaster saying, Hawa Kumsin is a strong, stoic, no-nonsense woman. Hawa all the way. Dauda Abubakar Sadiq says, good evening, Paul. Congratulations to Dr. KB Mahama and Dr. Gideon Boako. Also, from, firstly, Prophet Elisha Nana Osai, he says, good evening, Apostle Paul. Lawyer Kofi Obriyoboa is a good man and so humble, God bless him. And also we have from our friend Taufik, watching us from Ketakrachi, greetings to you. He says, Paul, I would like to commend Honorable Asenso and his contender lawyer, Ajapong, for the maturity they've shown on the election day. It's just admirable to see both of them together, singing and joking with each other. That was political maturity at its best. Back to you, Paul.
Okay, so let's get back on the touch screen and get our stories running. People tell me they are feeling sleepy. I should hurry up and get to the Kisha story, and then they want to listen to that one and then go to bed and continue tomorrow. Okay, let's talk about SML now. All right, so we stood here the other day and said that the SML contract is a good one, and that the allegations that had been made by the Fourth Estate are hogwash. We found out the Fourth Estate in keeping with their perceived criminality, forged documents. We put out a video from here and it went on Facebook and then they responded with some statements, some sheepish statements explaining something. They forged that document. We know that the records are there. We can show you. The Fourth Estate, in wanting to show that the contract was signed for a certain number of years, perpetrated forgery to all their readers and to all Ghanaians for that matter. They should be charged for forgery by the Office of the Attorney General and indeed the Special Prosecutor if he is doing his work well, and all the people who look after these things. They forged. The Fourth Estate actually did forge a statement that they put out. We picked their statement and we showed them that you don't need a camera hidden on your body to be a great journalist. We were not there when they did it. Just by looking at their statement, we observed the forgery. That is the training of a journalist. The meticulous approach with which you look at documents is very, very important for journalism and many other professions as well, law and all of those things. The meticulous nature with which you approach documents. We just looked at their document meticulously. I didn't find it. One of the young people said, boss, look. I said, what have you found? They said, look, they circled this for me. I said, look at these criminals. Forgery. Manasseh Azuri, Suleiman Brahma, Kwame Kaikai. They perpetrated forgery. We put it out here on the television and people have seen it. And then they had to come and issue a statement and say, it's not the forgery that's the matter, this and that. Anyway, so what is the basis of this conversation now? Recently, the Ghana Revenue Authority is reporting their highest revenue receivables ever collected in the history of Ghana in 2023. This is the Ghana Revenue Authority's report. Now, if you're a revenue authority and then you are experiencing a revenue that you get from somewhere, and then you implement a new system and you are getting more revenue, is that not the only thing you need to know that system works? This is what is beating my imagination. Somebody should come and tell me that since SML started their work, the revenue that is obtained from petroleum has gone down. Should that not be the point of research for the journalist? Samson Ladi, where are you? Come and help me. Should that not be the point of research for Manasseh and the criminality that they do at their Fourth Estate? Is that not the point? That's how it starts. This is revenue that you are getting from petroleum companies downstream. This was 200. You bring SML in. SML says that I will charge you 10. SML bring you 500. Ghana Revenue Authority's revenue is rising. What is that not the only basis to check whether SML is working or not? Now, you will find out that, interestingly, there's no problem anyone has with SML doing that at the downstream. As soon as the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, said SML should carry this effort, Ken Ofori-Atta and the Ghana Revenue Authority felt that because of the gains that the ministry and the revenue agency was getting from SML's work, SML should continue to upstream, to go and check tallow oil, to go and check the upstream companies. And in fact, SML should not even stop there. SML should go to gold, minerals, extractive industries, all the extractives, petroleum extractives, and the deposit extractive, the stones, gold and diamonds. SML should check all that. As soon as the Minister of Finance said SML should do this, then people started rising up against SML. When SML were commissioned to do downstream, nobody said anything. SML was delivering higher numbers and everybody was happy. Minister of Finance says, I need more money. SML, check this one as well. And then everybody rises up. And then there are people who have cooked these things. Now today we're going to begin to talk about them. It is widely reported and alleged, and we don't know whether it's true, that Senyor Jose, my friend, please put Senyor Jose's photograph. Senyor Jose is a very hard-working guy. Very, very hard-working. Senyor Jose, he's a president of the Petroleum Chamber. I was very surprised when I was told that in an allegation that is alleged that Senyor Jose is part of this documentary, Senyor Jose will not be part of this documentary. This Hogwarts documentary they did, fighting for territory and forging documents after that, Senyor Jose is part of it. I don't believe it. That Senyor Jose is part of this Manasseh Azuri people trying to undermine the SML work because they want to undermine the government and they want to undermine Ken Ofori-Atta, and they found some friends they have around Ken Ofori-Atta and in the government. They found some friends in the government who are not happy with SML because they are not part of commissions. Is that how we sacrifice Ghana? That somebody is not part of commissions, so he goes to find Manasseh Azuri. Is that what he does? Is that what Manasseh Azuri does? He has no story, sitting down waiting for people who are fighting each other. And then they come and give him a story that he will publish this documentary that he did, where he's forging documents to show that SML contract. Is Senyor Jose part of that? I don't believe it, but we're going to investigate it. Because Ghana belongs to all of us, viewers. Ghana belongs to all of us. We are not going to allow people to derail this republic for their private pockets. We are not going to allow it. That people should derail the republic. If Ghana Revenue Authority, the worst of the stories was that Amishadai may himself be part of the plots. That is shocking. But for intelligence analysts, it may not be shocking. But for me, it's shocking. I don't believe it. That the Reverend Amishadai, the GRA boss himself, is against SML because the people that he himself is collecting the revenue from, they are in bed with him. And they don't like this SML that is going to tell Amishadai how much he should collect from his friends. I don't know whether that's true or not. But this is being very seriously alleged that Amishadai. So when Amishadai had this clash with some judge in parliament, some of the people were happy that yes, he has to go. He's been there that long and this is what he's doing. Some judge raised issues about Amishadai's age. If you saw the video on CCTV, he raised the issue about Amishadai's age and said that Amishadai should go. He's been sitting there. I am not happy with this information. And I sincerely hope that is not true. That these two people, Senyor Jose and Mr. Amishadai, are behind the documentary that was orchestrated through Manasseh Azuri and Suleiman Brahma. Now, Suleiman Brahma, is that what he does? He talks to businessmen and they give him a brief. I don't even believe it. Do they talk to businessmen and they give them a brief? That Senyor Jose is behind it and Amishadai, the one who is supposed to look after the Amishadai, could be behind the SML issue? I don't know. But this is the allegation we're investigating. And we're going to investigate it to the bottom and bring you the facts. Because this republic must survive. Ministry of Finance says, I am getting more money because of SML's work. Manasseh Azuri and his people should come and show us that SML, Ministry of Finance, is getting less money because of SML. All these things they talk about, somebody else could have done it. Somebody was doing it. Are the figures not there? When somebody, MPA said they can do it, MPA was doing it, the figures are there. SML is doing it, the figures are there. Which figure is bigger? Which is giving Ghana government more money? We will always support something that's giving Ghana government more money. And the Ghanaians who think that their pocket is more important than the rest of us, everybody likes money. I do. But those who think that that ambition is more important than the republic, this is why media platforms have been created. The media plurality. That is why Edmund Beck called the media the fourth estate. After the first, the executive, the second, the legislature, and the third, the judiciary. Edmund Beck said, yonder sits the fourth estate in the top of the press gallery of the British Parliament as Westminster. That's how the fourth estate name came. Edmund Beck was speaking. He said, yonder. So he pointed to the gallery and said, yonder sits the fourth estate, and they are the most important of all the estates. That's why the fourth estate is there. So that people will not hide. Oh, no, certainly not them, please. Please take it off. Come back to where you were. So that people will not, okay, I touched this, sorry. So that people will not hide behind some of these things and perpetrate these things, and then we can't mention their names. We will mention their names as an allegation for now, but as we are getting close, because there's monitoring going on, people's issues are being monitored, people's interactions are being monitored, and this is what we are hearing. Senor say, I sincerely hope that is not true. I don't believe it. That he's behind this SML thing. Anyway, people are texting me. Charles, it's okay, it's okay. What I want to hear what happened in call. Let me read one. Let me reply him. He says it's okay. We want to hear. Okay, please keep watching and send us a text. And when you send the text, mention your name, and then we'll read it. Okay. Yes, I'm done with this one. But we are still keeping an eye on SML. Where we are officially is that President Akufo-Addo has asked KPMG to do an audit of the work that SML is doing. So KPMG is going to answer those questions. Before SML, was revenue at 0, 9, 10, 50, what is it? After SML, what is revenue? Deduct what SML is getting. Deduct also the taxes that SML is paying GRA and show us whether SML is good or bad. As soon as they say SML should go and vet petroleum people are unhappy because now they have to pay the right taxes to GRA. As soon as they say they should go and vet mining minerals commission is unhappy. And we have seen documents that petroleum commissions, I don't know about SML, as if it's a gang up of something against a certain situation because everybody's own is inside. Everybody's own is inside. Where is Ghana's own? Everybody's own is inside. Where is Ghana's own? The 30 million people who are not inside the 12. Where is their own? Is that how we want to run a country? America is not run like that, but America has billionaires. Ghana can create billionaires without that. Everybody's own is inside. So everybody says SML is bad. The 12 people, 16, their own is inside. The 30 Ghanaians, where is their own? 30 million Ghanaians, where is their own? That is why I support President Akufo-Addo. He says KPMG should bring it to him for him to convince himself that this is where we are or this is where we are not. We sincerely believe, based on what we have seen on SML, that KPMG will come out with a successful verdict. And then by that time, we would have zeroed in on the people who supported this Manasseh type of work. Has Manasseh even done any proper work before? Look at this. Every time he does something, his things we've forgotten. He came to say that VRA has given contract to Zoom Lion. VRA said they haven't given contract to Zoom Lion. He thinks the story is dead. This is disgraceful journalism. They hide and then they bring another one. Then they dodge and they're always dodging between trees and bringing another story. I don't know that they also sit down and get paid by people to do their stuff. I don't know that. I don't believe it. But from what's happening, people are beginning to talk like that. People are beginning to talk like that. That these Manasseh people, they are just sitting down. They just create themselves as platform. Two businessmen are fighting. They call them, they pay them some money, and then I don't believe it. But this is how it's beginning to look like, especially when you see them go to the extent of forging documents to justify their story on SML. They are forging. What are people saying? And this one, after that, we'll take a break, and then our story on Kisia Jammeh is ready. 2 minutes.
Junior has for Paul. He says, "Dear Paul Adomotri, you are a very solid guy. Please investigate this case and get to the bottom of it because some of us are keenly monitoring." Now, Garba Abdullahi Akonse is still hung up on the parliamentary primaries. He said, "Good evening, Paul. Asenso Boachi's win in Bantama is a clear message to Mr. Kennedy Japan to let sleeping dogs lie for the unity of the NPP party. Fighting everyone will not help the NPP party's unity going into the 2024 elections. Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the man of the moment, and everyone should try to come to terms with that." Baba Chairman Tamali lastly says that the GFA knows next to nothing about how passionate Ghanaians are when it comes to football, and that the government must dissolve the GFA and damn the consequences. Sarah.
Okay, from Spices, he says, "Good job done, Paul. I'm really satisfied with the outcome of the primaries." And coming from Wilberforce, he says, "I just love his delivery as always." And then lastly from Francis, he says, "Good evening, Mr. Paul. Thanks for the good work you are doing. I'm watching live from Tema West." What do you have for us, Angelo?
Okay, so from the breaker we played earlier, we have Floyd saying, "Kwabena Japan, please come into football administration." And we also have from Adam Kojo saying, "Good evening, Paul. Please, I think you should respect the views of Ghanaians. Most Ghanaians want the SML contract reviewed and audited. How long since this news broke? Why hasn't GRA or SML published the data to justify their work? And it is a shame that the GRA wrote to the president asking for SML works to continue without any convincing data to back their requests. Thanks. From Kamal Dean Tripoli, he says, why do some few journalists, like, and he names a certain journalists, and co feel like they are more intelligent than the 30 million Ghanaians? Now, on earlier topics, we have Abduzati from Bolgatanga saying, excellent presentation, Paul. I always say this, and will continue to say that. Yes, you may not like Paul or his way of doing things or even being biased, but you cannot counter facts, all that he's saying. Doing this for almost 24 years is not just an overnight thing, but you have to build it for yourself. Von D. Jr. says, Paul Mottry, you're a solid guy. Please investigate this case and get to the bottom of it. Some of us are monitoring. And lastly, from Safianu Adam, he says, watching live from Pusiga. Ken Achepong, you lost. Your brother lost. Now your baby mama lost. What do you do now? Back to you, Paul.
So Kwesi Agyabeng thinks that he will ignore our RTI request for his purchase of bulletproof cars for 36 million, whose by today's rate is 60 million cedis. He thinks that he will ignore it. He's a joker. Please tell him he's a big joker. Yeah? A joker. Because the laws of Ghana are bigger than me. The laws of Ghana are bigger than him. We are coming after him on the RTI. If he's not careful, he'll be paying surcharges and he'll be found for causing financial loss to the state. He should quickly answer those questions and write it back to us. When his people, those his appendages, they send RTI requests to places, he follows up. He has received an RTI request and pretending that he hasn't seen it. They've not even acknowledged receipt of it. He hasn't read the RTI law. He doesn't know that there are steps to take. We are going to take those steps against him and he'll be in trouble. He's a madman. Okay, no, he's not a madman. All right. So this is the cartoon that we put out earlier today. If you can put on the TV directly for them to see, people should read. Yes. So Cecilia Dapa says, so all the cameras and drones you brought to my house was for nothing? Shame on you. And then Kwesi Agyabeng, lying on the canvas and smiling broadly, says, as for bribery and corruption offenses, dear, I didn't find, but money laundering, I don't know. That is Kwesi Agyabeng lying there and telling us. Viewers, it's 15 minutes on top of the hour 11. Let me make this very quickly. And can you please put Kwesi Agyabeng's photograph there? Let me explain why this is a problem. So, 2-3 days ago or Monday or so, we heard that Kwesi Agyabeng has withdrawn from some Cecilia Dapa matter and says that he has the thing is money laundering and therefore he should go to Yoko. Whether he even has power to recommend to another state agency, I'm not so sure. Whether he has forgotten that the matter was referred to him by the president. Was it referred to him by the president? I don't even remember. I'm not even sure. So this is what happened. You, Kwesi Agyabeng, you heard that Ghanaian Chronicle has published a story on Cecilia Dapa. You know that the story was the matter is being prosecuted by the police. You are aware of the position of the Minister of Interior and the position of the Attorney General. You knew that there are ways in which you can call for this matter and find out the details. He was clearly aware. Because of his penchant for glass and excessive publicity, he carried drones and cameras and went to Cecilia Dapa's house in the full glare of everything, so that every single lawyer in Ghana felt that Kwesi Agyabeng had breached the rule of innocence until proven guilty. Every lawyer worth a salt in Ghana was clear in their mind that by his conduct in going to Cecilia Dapa's house the way he did, lawyer Kwesi Agyabeng had breached the rules. And for a special prosecutor, you ought not to be seen to breaching those rules. Martin Amidu, the former special prosecutor, spent ink on these matters and online time to publish articles about this. This is what Kwesi Agyabeng did. And then when we mounted pressure on him and told him how crass that was and how ignorant that was, he put up a story that viewers we've all forgotten. But he thinks he can take Ghanaian journalists for granted. He won't take us for granted. When we gave him that pressure, do you remember, viewers? If you Google it, it will come. Kwesi Agyabeng said he's found somebody who is cutting dollars somewhere, is 40 million. He was a liar. Where is the story? Where is the story? Because we were mounting pressure on him and his excessiveness and his poor conduct, his very, very distasteful public conduct of his work. Kwesi Agyabeng, his public conduct of his work is distasteful. Because we were pointing fingers at that and he found himself under pressure, he did what they always do, hoodwinking. Every day they are hoodwinking. That's what they do. He came suddenly, calls on Joe FM and other people and said, I have found somebody who is cutting fake dollars in Ghana. It was untrue. Why did I touch the thing and then Anas Arabia then emerges? the two of them, they are together every day. That's what they do. That's how they work. Viewers, journalists, call Kisi Ajabe's office tomorrow and say, where is the status of that investigation? Let him produce it. In fact, we can do another RTI. He should produce the status of that investigation because we are sure that it's not there. It doesn't exist. He was just doing, that is why he has employed so many, if you look at his employment list, publicity people are more than lawyers. Because he is coming to deceive. John 10:10 in the Bible, for the thief comes to steal, to kill and to destroy, but I have come to give you eternal life. The thief, the Bible says, he comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Add Anas's photograph. Let me read the scripture again. For the thief in John 10:10, John 10:10, I'm quoting the Bible. The thief, he comes to do three things: to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That's what he did. He went to Cecilia Dapa's house and did what he did. When pressure was mounted on him, he manufactures a story that he is on cash of arms, somebody is cutting dollars somewhere, he has caught the person. Now, after all the theatricals, and this is the story, Cecilia Dapa says, this guy is messing up. I need lawyers. Call Samuel Kujeto, goes to Kujeto's law firm, highest lawyers. Cecilia Dapa is very lucky to have hired very good lawyers, excellent lawyers. They understand procedure. They are procedural lawyers. They are solid. They understand it. They are barristers, proper ones. They go to court. And then they file against Kisi Ajabe that you cannot seize Cecilia Dapa's money without any basis. You can't. Kisi Ajabe doesn't show up in court. The court is on virtual. We're all watching here the first day of trial. He's in China, he's in America, he's in somewhere doing his things. Nothing but something. So the court says, no, you can't seize the money. The lawyers are right. You can't seize the money. So he calls Cecilia Dapa to his office in this dramatic matter, says, here are your documents and the property that we seized. Cecilia Dapa stands up and says, I have rearrested you. Bring it back. I don't even know what the word to describe it. This is what he does. And then the judge is concerned. What are you doing? Are you violating the court order? This single process, this single misbehavior of Kisi Ajabe, occasioned meetings at the Judicial Council and everywhere he was invited. Other people were invited to come. What are you doing? What is going on with you? Then he goes to hold a press conference and says, judges are after me. And something he was saying. That's what he was drama. He was hoodwinking, pity partying. He's always throwing that. That's what they all are. They're always throwing pity party like Anas. You go to Germany, they say, where do you get money for? And say, if you are doing video and likes and ticks. Anas, that's what he told German children. Because everybody is wondering about where does Anas get the money from? He gets it from a hole. That hole has smoke in it. Kisi Ajabe came to throw a pity party to journalists that judges are doing this and that and that. I'm building the story. All about Cecilia Dapa's matter. Okay. Time has elapsed. Kisi Ajabe now files his application to court. That this is my application against Cecilia Dapa. The reason why I'm seizing the money. Last week, court has been looking for him. Last week, he shows up in court. Now, viewers, listen to this. You go to Cecilia Dapa's house in the full glare of satellite television. You attend Cecilia Dapa's residence in the full glare of satellite television. Come to court. You are standing in court. Defend the position and defend the applications you file. You know what he did? He walks to the judge and says, you have gone to embarrass somebody using state resources, use drones and satellite TV to show the world that she has stolen. You lied to the world that you spent 5 hours searching the house. That's how I went there. That's house. Within how long will you? Within 20 minutes you finish. He said 5 hours. That's what he told the journalist. Now come to court, stand in court, and move the application so that the court will agree with you that you can see certain things. You want to do it in private. When you were disgracing her, you did it in public. When it's time to demonstrate the reason why you disgraced her, to defend your position, to defend your legal position and express your legal knowledge, you want to hide in the judge's chamber. You don't want the journalist to hear what you are saying. Because he has nothing to say. He has absolutely nothing to say. He has poor preparation. Absolutely poor preparation. Why? They say that sometimes, oh sorry, my microphone is gone. Should I just fix it? Yeah, come and do it for me. Come and do it for me. Let the sound come and do it. Sorry, viewers. We'll finish this now. Can they hear? Yeah. All right. Can you hear? Time out. Keep your. All right. Thank you, viewers. When it's time for you to demonstrate your legal knowledge before the bench, because they say when people are given to debauchery, they usually have very poor preparation for their work. I don't know whether it's true. I'm not talking about Kissi Agyapong. I'm not referring to him. But they said that when people are given to debauchery, they have very poor preparation for their work. When you are given to debauchery, come prepare for your work. So he shows this kind of porous preparation to file the application or to defend the application. He comes to court and he tells the judge that he wants to speak in chambers. The judge is concerned that, you want to speak in chambers for what? You have gone to seize somebody's money. We told you can't seize it. You turn around and seize it again. Okay, now come and tell us why you are doing that. You want to go and do that in chambers. What kind of lawyer is that? That's why I stood here that day and said, Kissi Agyapong, on the basis of this, he said disgrace. Total disgrace. He was talking about, today he spoke at CDD conference, talking about we want to scrap the officer. We don't want to scrap the office of the special prosecutor. We want to diminish this attitude. This kind of attitude is what we want to diminish in the office of the special prosecutor. That's what we want to diminish. We don't want to remove the office. Remove the office for what? We are talking about you, Kissi Agyapong. It is about you. It's not about the office of the special prosecutor. It's about you and your conduct. Your conduct in the office. That's what we are talking about. Violating legal principles and breaching them anyhow for a criminal law expert is totally disgraceful. So Kissi Agyapong told the judge that I want to speak in chambers. The judge says I cannot grant this. Just tell the court what you have to say. What is speak in chambers? Back and forth, back and forth. The judge says, okay, come to chambers. He comes to chambers. What is the argument? He has nothing to say. He says, okay, my lord, I'm withdrawing the application. The judge says, if you are withdrawing the application, you're entitled to do so. But then you have to return her money to her. Yes, he returns her money to her, comes out and tells the press that I've withdrawn the application because it's money laundering. His money laundering means that he investigated corruption and corruption-related offenses. Where is the result of that investigation? What is the verdict on that one? Because as for that one, Kissi Agyapong has authority to do so. He's lucky the journalists were busy and they didn't ask him that question. Because you are a special prosecutor, you do not have mandate to investigate money laundering. Yes, we know that. But you do have a mandate conferred on you by law to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses. Did you investigate Cecilia Dapaah for corruption and corruption-related offenses? What was the outcome of that investigation? Did you have time to conduct the investigation? Did you move away from your pleasures to take time to do the work and come out with an investigative report on that? You can't come and tell the general public who are paying you money, whose money you take to go and buy bulletproof cars, 60 million cedis, you spend it on cars. You can't do that. Parliament has just approved 140 million for the office of the special prosecutor. You can't do that and come and not do the work and just get away with it. You were supposed to send taxpayers' petrol money to Cecilia Dapaah's house, taxpayers' internet to publish your drone videos of her so that you will become a hero, so that we will know that you are the one who owns glass. So that you become a hero, come to court and talk about it. You want to say it in camera. You cannot say it in camera. You say you have withdrawn your application. Withdraw your application, you go and tell the journalist that you have withdrawn the application and it's money laundering. How long does it take you to know Cecilia Dapaah's matter is money laundering? In any case, your act does not allow you to look at money laundering. Your act said look at corruption and corruption-related offenses. You said you had seized Cecilia Dapaah's money. Kissi Agyapong said so. Journalists, please ask him. Kissi Agyapong said so, that he has seized Cecilia Dapaah's money on the basis of corruption and corruption-related offenses. What happened to that particular investigation? Kissi Agyapong should come and tell us what happened to that particular investigation. It's not every journalist, Kissi, you can hoodwink. It's not every journalist you can hoodwink, who do not understand what you are doing. You have a deficit of explanation to render. You have been investigating Cecilia Dapaah for corruption and corruption-related offenses. Where is the report? We will demand it of you because you cannot go visit in China, take Ghana police to South Africa, go and be in Pretoria, conduct your affairs and say that you are working for Office of Special Prosecutor for the Republic of Ghana, and when you have investigated a matter, you do not have a report to publish. You only come and tell us that the matter is something that is outside the purview of your law. Money laundering is outside the purview of your act. Your act has no power over money laundering. So what were you saying? It's like the IGP comes and says that I've been to the Ghana-Togo border. I did not see any stealing by the people. What I saw is aggression from the Togolese armed forces. But that one is not me, it's the army. We already know that it's the army. It's the army. So Kisi Agyabeng telling us that it is money laundering, therefore it goes to Yoko. It is a repetition of what it's a repetition of the limitation of his act. He is just so damn lucky that no journalist asked him that question. Now, what are you telling us? Money laundering is not in your law, so money laundering cannot be part of it. So when you were looking at Siladapa, you couldn't have been looking at money laundering because the law does not permit you to do so. You couldn't have been looking at money laundering. Kisi Agyabeng, when you were looking at Siladapa's brief, you couldn't have been looking for money laundering because money laundering is outside the law. You were supposed to look at corruption and corruption-related offenses. You yourself said so. Where is the report? Where is it? Where is the report on the corruption and corruption-related offenses? Not that he didn't do the work. He did the work. He didn't find it. And he is so pumped up with ego. He is not able to come and say, taxpayer, I use your money to find corruption and corruption-related, but I didn't find it. He's unable to do so. He's so pumped up to say that this is it. He didn't find it. He didn't find it. For all the jumping about he went to do in Siladapa's residence in Abelempe, jumping about with drone and making himself out as if he's a superstar of a Black Stars player. All that he did. He came to the table, he didn't find. And instead of admitting it that he didn't find so that the young people will learn from him, he goes back to the old books, hoodwink and deceive everybody. Just hoodwink and lie and deceive everybody. This is how Kisi Agyabeng works. If they say we want Office of Special Prosecutor, and this is a special prosecutor that we want, God will help us. God will forgive us and help us. Let's take the text messages and then we'll see what we do next. We have 2 or 3 items. Let's take the text messages first, and we'll take the break.
Okay, so here's what Yapa Papi says. He says, Paul, I think Kisi Agyabeng is really living this soft life because he's really enjoying the taxpayers' money. Mohammed Yusufa says, Mr. Paul, who recommended Kisi to President Nana Addo for the OSP position, by the way? Ben Ayiti says, Paul, thumbs up for what I call education, but can you please find some time and investigate the $8.5 million USD budget for the Black Stars for the AFCON? And lastly, Junior Akbar, watching us from Tamale, says, my group and I are going to launch Operation Special Prosecutor Must Resign because the nation is suffering in the hands of the so-called OSP, that if we do not voice it out for the president to search this man, I think it will bring down the country. So every media should help us to propagate it so that he would go and leave the nation to move forward because he has nothing to offer the good people of Ghana. Sarah.
Okay, so coming from Isa, he says, good evening, Paul. The special prosecutor has the right to direct or refer a case to any agency after nothing is found in their end. Mr. Sule from Karaga constituency, thanks. And also coming from Junior Akbar, he says, I'm going to launch Operation OSP Must Go because he has nothing to offer the people of this nation. I think President Nana Akufo-Addo have already regretted for appointing this arrogant person as our special prosecutor. He is an enemy to the nation. And lastly, from Joseph, he says, Mr. Paul, more fire. What do you have for us, Angela?
Okay, we have Kweku Bekwampons saying Martin Kwebu hailed him, presumably referring to our special prosecutor. We have Spices Nana saying, good job done, Paul. I'm really satisfied with the outcome of the primaries. Alhaj Bob City says, Paul, assalamu alaikum. I greet you on the studio. My first day of watching you guys in the new year, send my regards to Eko Vincent Asifwa Esquire for his victory. Prince Scott McTominay Opoku says, no wonder we Good Evening Ghana won Show of the Year. It's Current Affairs Show of the Year, and the award is right there on the table. We also have from our friend Derek Ofer Jr. saying, don't be fooled. Paul Adam Otre has no equal. He does this thing with sheer grace. I can only imagine the target on his back, and yet at every attempt, vindication comes to him, top guy. And lastly, from Safyanu Adam watching us from Gariki Pusiga, he says, good evening, Paul. Manasseh and his cohorts at Fourth Estate are classified. He used a very strong word. I would not mention it. He says, who only engage in crass journalism and blackmail. During the drought of proper journalists, with the exception of few, how rotten morsel of an effort from this message is too harsh. Back to you, Paul. Paul.
We're back here. Okay, let's take the last commercial break. Let's see what we can do with that. Break time. Thank you.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes.